With the playoff system in NASCAR, to be eligible, you have to make a start in every race. But sometimes, things outside of a driver's control can put them on the sidelines. Usually NASCAR hands out these waivers like candy, especially say for instance when a driver gets injured, but other times NASCAR can be rather strict with it. This is one of those times. The fact that this is dragged out now into weeks, plural, proves that NASCAR does not want to give Kyle Larson and Hendrick Motorsports a waiver. So in this video, I'm going to look at some possible reasons why they don't feel motivated to issue Larson a waiver. In case you need to be brought up to speed, Larson and Hendrick made the call to compete in the rain-delayed Indy 500, causing him to miss the start of the Coca Cola 600. However, Larson made it to Charlotte and was about to take over for Justin Allgaier in the 5 car when the rain hit. The track was dried, and then mysteriously, as drivers were expected to be called to the cars to continue the race, it was declared official and Larson never turned a lap in the 600. Even though Allgaier started the race and would have received credit for the finishing position, Larson would have been in the 600, showing that he did appear in every event and a waiver would have been secured. According to Jeff Gluck, there's a lot of talk in the garage that NASCAR and Hendrick had contingency plans made for that Sunday, but from NASCAR's point of view, Hendrick overruled them by having Larson complete the Indy 500. NASCAR probably didn't take kindly to one of their biggest stars choosing IndyCar over them. They had been accommodating before, like pushing the All-Star race back a half hour for Larson to arrive from Indy qualifying, though it should be noted that Larson made it to North Wilkesboro well before the original start time. One big reason I don't think anyone has brought up is the ongoing charter negotiations. The teams which make up the race team alliance are in a battle with NASCAR to secure better payouts and benefits in the new charter deal. NASCAR wants teams to agree to whatever terms they're willing to give out. With Hendrick along with Gibbs, 2311 and RFK spearheading the RTH charge, NASCAR must feel that the teams are gaining too much power. This situation is perfect for NASCAR because it can make it seem like they're standing up to Hendrick. And if they can stand up to Hendrick, they can stand up to any team in the garage. Make the smaller teams agree to the new deal, and make the big teams fall in line eventually. When you have a big deal being negotiated and you're very steadfast in what terms you're willing to agree on, you're going to want to project power to secure those terms. I can't envision this issue as being more than a political back and forth between the teams by way of Hendrick and NASCAR. Because from a competition standpoint and through past precedent with waivers, there's no logical answer to keep Larson out of the playoffs. The phrasing that was always used was drivers need to make an honest attempt to race every race. Well, Larson qualified and practiced the car, and then flew through storms to get to Charlotte. That sounds like an effort was made to me. It isn't like he sat at home of his own volition. Hypothetically, if a driver got stuck in traffic on race day like it was Kentucky 2011 and missed the start, would a waiver really not be granted? Chase Elliott got a waiver for being suspended for wrecking Denny Hamlin at Charlotte last year. You can get a waiver for doing something bad on track, but you can't if you miss the start of a race due to other circumstances. Elliott missed the playoffs last year, so the holding was a moot point anyway, but we can look at this season too. Eric Jones hurt his back at Talladega, missed Dover, but was cleared by NASCAR's own doctor to race at Kansas. Yet Jones willingly sat out Kansas to continue his recovery. I won't fault him for taking care of himself, but from NASCAR's point of view, Jones was fit enough to be in the race and sat out of his own accord and still got a waiver. I think NASCAR really needs to let this one go and then draw a line in the sand and say, if you miss a race due to non-injury, you need to be in the top 16 in points to keep your spot in the playoffs, or even top 10. Like most everything about NASCAR in the 21st century, the waiver stuff is needlessly complex and confusing when it could be extremely simple. You know what NASCAR could do if they wanted to discourage their top guys from racing in other series? Go back to a full season championship. I bet Hendrick would have to make a real decision then. The ironic part is, the idiotic playoff format is the only reason why Hendrick kept Larson in Indy. If real points were on the line in the 600, they would have sent him to Charlotte immediately. No race outside of the Daytona 500 feels like a crown jewel anymore because they're all just means to an end to settle the playoff grid. But overall, this drama is one of the most ridiculous things in NASCAR recently, which really says a lot. Larson is very polarizing, he has a lot of fans and a lot of haters, but I don't think he should be penalized for the weather throwing a wrench into what should have been an awesome day for him. And I'd say that about any driver wanting to do the double. In an era with so many talentless pay drivers and brainless morons driving the cars, we should be encouraging talent to show it, not hampering it.